so it took a long time. Okay, fine. In the last class, we were discussing about the TCP/IP model and OSI reference model, right? And we have seen the functions of each of those layers, the 7 layers of the OSI models, and 5 layers of the TCP/IP model. Okay. So today we'll see the inter networking devices, right? And we know that whenever we make a network or computer networks, right, or communication network, we need the devices, right? Devices as well as the links or the communication link or the cable or lines. So these are the different devices we need whenever we create a computer networks. The cables, of course, we need to interconnect the two different devices, right? And the modems we need, and the repeaters, hubs, switches, and very important one is network interface cards and bridges, routers, and gateways, right? And in today's class we will see the about repeaters, hubs, switches, and if time permits, we'll see the bridges, routers, and the gateways, right? So in the last class, we have seen the OSI model, correct, right? So we have seen 7 different layers: application, presentation, session, right? Transport, network, data link, and physical layers. So similarly, this is the OSI, and if you say the TCP/IP model, then these three will become only the application layer, and rest of them are same. So we will have the 5 layers: 1 or 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, right? So at each layer, certain unique functions need to be carried out, correct? And depending on that function, we these layers have installed or are built in the devices. So very first one is the repeaters. So we'll see in detail about the repeaters, and switches will also will come, and bridge is there. So bridge will be in the both the layers, data link layer as well as the physical layer, and the router. So router will be having the 3 layers: network, data link, and the physical layer. And the gateway has the all the layers, 7 layers of the OSI or 5 layers of the TCP/IP models. Okay, let's see the first one, or in brief, I can show like here. The physical have the hubs and the repeaters, right? And in the data link layer, bridge will be having both data link as well as the physical layer. So that's why we have connected till here, right? And the router are 3 layer switches, has the all the 3 layers: network layer, data link layer, and the physical layer. So now we will see the repeaters, then we will see the hubs, then we will take the switch, then the bridges. Okay, if time permits, we will finish this router as well. So repeater. So the meaning of the repeater, or synonymally they call as the regenerator. So repeater is an electronic device, right, that operates only on the physical layer of the OSI model, which we have seen, right? So the repeaters has 2 ports, so input and the output. So like that, 2 ports are available. So here you can see. So if you are saying this is the repeater, so here I have shown. So this is the one. So means this is the physical layer, correct? So repeater, so this is the input and this is the output if we are sending the data in these directions. And if you are sending the data in this direction, so this will become the input port for the device P and the output for this, right? So this is the uh, pictorial view or actual real-time implementation of the repeaters in the network, right? Let's see the functions of the repeaters. So repeater, what it does is it will receive the signals, right? The signal it will receive before it becomes too weak or corrupted, right? Suppose this is the repeater, and like this one system is there, and this is the second system. So repeater, so device A and device B, and A has to send data to the B, right? Data D it has to send from A to B, right? So as we send, so distance is the main important here, right? And whatever we send the data, it won't go as it is at the B, right? So with respect to the distance, the signal, right? So usually what it does, it will be sending some signal like this, correct? So by the time it comes here, so signals will be like this, right? So the amplitude has reduced here, and we cannot differentiate which one is the 0 and which one is the 1. If you say this is the 1 bit, right? And this is the 0, and again 1. So like this we usually say, correct? But here after some time it might become a straight line as well, right? So we cannot regenerate the whatever the data or the whatever the data the A has sent, the same data cannot be reached at the B. So what to do this? So we need some device which can repeat the signal, right? Or make the original signal as it is and send to the B, right? So repeater, what it does is it will receive the signal, right? And it will be reproducing the signal. Suppose this is the input signal, right? And we are having the repeater, this is the source and this is the destination. So if it comes here, it will reduce. So what we will do, so suppose here, right, it will be like this, correct? So it is reducing. So this is a place where we need the repeater. So I will install the repeater here, right? So it will receive this one, and repeater, what it does, it will regenerate the original signals bit by bit. So the same signal will be regenerated here, whatever the signal was there, right? And it will be sent to the destinations, right? So the main first function is receiving the signal. Yes, so this is the original, receiving the signal and regenerating the signals before it decays or before it becomes the corrupt signal, right? And after regenerating it, it has to forward to the desired destination. So this is how the repeaters does. So here you can see the uh, image. So from here the signal transmission is happening. So somewhere else, suppose say here the source and here is the destination, correct? And it is sending the data. So it's like a square wave. If you think it is a square wave, so like this it will be coming. So after a certain distance, so there is a deterioration, either due to the noise will also affect, right? Either due to the noise or with respect to the distance. So as the signal moves, definitely there is a wastage of energy, right? So as the signal energy decays, so there is a little bit corruption of the signals. So repeater, what it does, it will reproduce it like this. So suppose this is the 1, 2, 3, if I say, so this is the regenerated signals waveform. Similarly, left to right transmissions. Suppose this is the source and the destinations. So in the both the directions, same functions, the repeater will be, carrying that. Good. So the as the repeater does these functions, right? Regenerating the signals, then where to install. So the locations, right? So this is very important one. So where we have to deploy the repeaters, right? So if we perform the few experiments, and due to that experiments, we can gain some knowledge. Correct? So what is happening to the signals? So we will be analyzing the signals. So suppose this is the complete LAN, and the LAN at this point, right? So whatever the original signals is there here, at this point it will be decaying. It will be decaying. So this identification we will be doing. So after identifying this one, then we can confirm that we can place the repeater at this point. So that's the reason we are placing this repeater. So after that, it will be the original signals which was sent by S. So this S and D. So we will be replicating the properties of the signals. What are the properties? The voltage, right? Voltage of the signal we are, keeping as it is. Good. So the repeater also has the some limitations. Repeaters can be used only in the network. This is very important. So this is the network, right? And we are having the different nodes. And repeater can be able to connect only like this. And one more network is there. Suppose this is the network A, and this is the network B, and here also nodes are there. Suppose this guy N1 wants to communicate with the N5. So this communication. So here we cannot use the repeaters. Repeaters we cannot, because it doesn't understand what it is. So we cannot use this one. So we have to use only inside the network. That's the reason it doesn't connect two LANs. So this is the one LAN if you consider, and this is the second LAN if you consider, then we cannot use the repeater. Repeater will be used within the LAN, within a single LAN. A repeater cannot connect two networks of different protocols also, which I have shown here. And repeater doesn't act as an amplifier or as a filter, right? It doesn't have any amplifier in it. It will just regenerate, it will improve the voltage signal, that's all, but it doesn't amplify or it doesn't filter the noise which is available in the signals, right? So that's all the repeater is. So we have seen the what is the repeater, where in which layer the repeater will be there, and what are the functions of it, right? And where exactly the repeater will be placed in the real time. Then what are the limitations of the repeater? Let's see the hub. So hub is a multi-port repeater. So the repeater has the only two port, input and the output, right? So you can say the P1 and P2. So it's a two port device. But here, and one more thing, what I can say the limitation is it cannot connect more than two devices in the repeater. But in the hub is it's a multi-port. right? It has a more than one or more than two ports in it. And it is normally used to create a connections between stations in a physical star topology, right? So this is a star topology, correct? So if he wants to send some data, suppose this D is there and this is the S. So this guy wants to send us some data to this guy, S to D, source to destination. So if he has to do, not directly we cannot send. This guy has to send to the hub, then hub has to send to this central hub, then central hub has to send to the right hub, then right hub has to send to the data to the D. So here the data won't come to the only D because it doesn't understand the physical address of the D. So it will send to all. So whichever the devices they need this data, so those devices can accept it. So this is the problem in the hub. Hub cannot transmit a data to the particular or to particular device. Okay. So hub connects multiple wires coming from different branches. For example, the connector in star topology which connects to different stations, which we have seen, right? And hubs cannot filter the data. So hub cannot filter the data. So data packets are sent to all devices, right? So here we cannot, the hub doesn't have filter. Filter means what? It will remove the, or it will remove the unnecessary things we say. But here in the hub, filtering is, see, the data has to go from S to D. That's all. But what it is happening here, here it is going from, suppose this is the A and B, right? So what it is happening, S to D is happening and S to A is also data is transferring, and S to B also data will be transmitting, right? So these are the unnecessary things. So removing these transmission technique is not available in the hub. That's why they have used the word hubs cannot filter the data, right? So as a result, there will be definitely the collision, right? Suppose here one more hub is there, right? One more hub is there, or just consider this one only, and this B has to wants to send a data to the device C. So what happens? So as it is receiving in the mode as well as it is receiving, yes, sending the data to the C. So as a result, there will be collision here. Though the B doesn't need the data which is sent from the S, but then also the B is receiving the data, and while transmitting the data, it is getting corrupted due to the collision. So also they do not have the intelligence to find the best path for data packets, and which definitely lead to inefficiencies and the wastage of the bandwidth, right? So hence all data is sent out on all ports, whether it is needed or not. So here I have shown one way. So here also, right? So as soon as the hub receives the data from the S, it will just send here. And if we, so one more, some few devices are connected here, correct? So these devices will also receive the data which is sent by the S. So this is unnecessarily this data we are sending here. Only the hub has to send here, but it's wasting the bandwidth. So then that's what the hubs is. Let's see the switch. So switch is the data link layer device, and it uses the two different things. The one is the software and another one is the hardware. So in the both the side, the switch will be there. So one is for sending the packet to the computer, and the one is by for sending the data to the devices on the network. So networking device, right? So this is the software part and this is the hardware part. Yeah, that's what the software is the switch operating system, because which offer a high density of connection ports and they can easily replace the hubs on the network, right? And very important one, it uses the packet switching in order to send, receive or forward the data packets or the data frames over the network. And also the switch has a very important function is to identifying and correcting the error involved in the packets or the frame while forwarding the data. So in the earlier hub and the repeater, the first one, they never used to see the where exactly the particular destination S has to send, right? And this IP address or the MAC address of the D, the repeater or the hub never used to see, they never understand it. But switch, it does, because we have programmed in such a way that it has to detect it. The second one is the data which is sent from the S to D. If it is corrupted, then the recovery, identifying and the recovery function will be carried out in the switch. So that is the second function. The third one is it utilizes the packet switching. So it doesn't create the or the establishes the connection from the S to D, right? It doesn't create. So whenever it has the data, it will just send the data. So that's why, which makes it is very efficient as it doesn't forward packets that have errors and forward good packets selectively to the correct port only, right? And it divides the network into what is known as a virtual LAN, and the switch can supply each of the computer with a dedicated amount of bandwidth. So this is very important one. So it will dedicated the certain bandwidth for each of the computer. So this is the real-time switch. See here, you will be actually switch in real time, right? So these are the ports. 1, 2, 3. So total 8 ports are there, and 8 PCs have connected, right? And this is like you might have seen in our lab. So this is the port connection. Actually, this is the switch, and this switch, this is the connection where it is going to your laptop or computer or your printer, right? So the another device, networking device, is the network interface card. We call the NIC. So you might have seen this. So it's a piece of computer hardware designed to allow computers to communicate over a network, right? So this is the one PC. So in the previous diagram only, yeah. So this is the network switch, right? So this is the cable RS-230 or Ethernet card, right? Ethernet. So it's going to the our laptop or our desktop. So in our desktop, if you see, so there will be some space or the port where this Ethernet we need to connect it, correct? So like this port will be there here, right? So inside that, right? So there will be one Ethernet card, NIC. So here it has to be fixed. So it allows the two computers or the uh, through the network, two computers will communicate with each other, right? And it provides a hardware interface between a computer and a network. Yeah, this is what I was saying. So this is where your Ethernet will come. Yeah, here they have written Ethernet port, right? And this part is the complete the network part, right? That's why here they have written network part. And from here, right? So anyway, this PCI connection, so we will be connecting to the motherboard, right? Like this we will be connecting motherboard. So through this, this is like a software part, and this is the hardware part, right? So through which it goes to the motherboard, right? So that is the complete the software part. So that's what the NIC does. So it will use for computer to talk to the network and the network to communicate with your computer, right? So computer to network and network to computer. So in order to establish this kind of a communication, we need the network interface card. So now how to verify the presence of the network interface, whether that is actively present or not, how to do that? So for example, I'll just show you. You can write a command prompt. I think I have here. So if you write there IP config, so if you write here capital I, right? Yeah, IP config slash all, right? So
Sir,
here,
able to see PPT, sir.
oh, only PPT is visible.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry. Let me reshare. Now can I see the command prompt?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here if you write if config slash all, right, you might have seen. So here it contains the complete information about the network of the current usage of my laptop. So the host name, primary DNS, so all this will be there. So I am interested with the wireless LAN adapter Wi-Fi. So here you can see the physical address, right, and DHCP enabled, and IPv6 address also is there, and IPv4 address. So currently it is preferred the IPv4 for my laptop, and subnet mask. So about all this we will be studying throughout the course. Okay, so like this will be there. So for the sample I have taken a screenshot of that and I have put here. So this is how it will show in our system. So this is for the network interface card. If our network interface card is enabled, then only it will show. Otherwise, it won't show anything. So the basic functions of the network interface card is to the first one, the transmission of the data and buffering of the data and encapsulation and MAC address storage and signal encoding and the decoding. All these functions will be carried out at NIC. And how exactly the network interface card works. So very first, so I am talking from the application to the physical. Okay, so in that way we will go through this working. So gather the data that is to be sent from the application, right? So it will gather, right? How it will gather? It will gather from the motherboard, correct? So NIC gathers that data from the motherboard and transmits it to small buffer on the card. So whatever the buffer sizes are there, or the whatever the frame sizes are there. So depending on that, the data will be sent through the NIC, and NIC adds its own address plus the destination address where the data is to be sent, right? So NIC is identified using the one address called the physical address, right? So NIC will add its own physical address or MAC address and destination address, right? And NIC calculates the checksum for the data in the buffer. So checksum again we will see in the future what exactly checksum, CRC, how to detect the error, correct it, and how to transmit the packet along with the checksum. So checksum is to used for the error correction, and this information is then arranged in a frame. So what we are having, the first we are having the data, correct, and after the data we are having the headers, the source and the destination, and after the source and destination header we are having the checksum. So this is the complete one frame, and this frame will be transmitted to the network through this NIC. And receiving NIC, right, it calculates the checksum for the this receive, and both the checksums, right, if it be whenever we calculate checksum, so remainder if we get the 00, then that indicates that is a error free, so packet is our frame is in good condition, and it checks it with the original checksum value attached with the frame, and if no frames then the acknowledgement is sent to the sender. So this is how actual the NIC internal structure look like. So network interface hardware and the processor and the memory will be there, right? So this is how the frame actual looks. So this is the actual data, and I said they will be having the network interface card. It will put its own address and its destination address, right? So this is its own address and this is the destination, and what type of ethernet we will be using. So in our desktop or in our laptop there are two types. So 00 is the one type and 08 is the another. So these two different ether types are there. Then after that it will add its CRC or the checksum, and this complete structure they call the frame, and this frame will be sent to the network, and the network will be forwarding to the destination NIC. So this is how the MAC address looks, right? So NIC has a identifier, right, and that identifier will be called as the MAC, and MAC is a of 48-bit number, and which has the 6 digit hexadecimal numbers separated by the colons, right? So this is how it looks like, hexadecimal number 48 bits, and start initial 3 bytes. So these are 3 bytes, right? It's called as the organizationally unique number, and another 3 bytes is a network interface controller. Okay, so that's all about the uh, network interface card, and we have the bridges also. I think we'll start the bridges in the next class, and we'll finish with the spanning tree along with that. Okay, so student, do you have any doubts? So today we have